Every day, you wake up as your own boss, making your own way. Every day, you continue your journey to change the world, your team, and yourself. Every day, you encourage, congratulate, celebrate, and reach toward your goal of being the best and providing the best. The Build Your Best Business Show is for you. The real stories of building a business from other owners and founders along the journey. Find the support and advice you need to successfully start, grow, manage, and exit your business. What are you going to do today to build your best business?
Welcome to Build Your Best Business. I'm your host, Eric Holtzclaw. We focus on the entrepreneurial journey, what it takes to successfully start, manage, grow, and exit a business, and looking at all those kind of behind-the-scenes things that you don't think about as a person who started a business, those things you don't often know that you need to worry about. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. I'm at Dig South in Charleston at the Gaylord Center, and I'm talking with Michael Stolarczyk. He is the Vice President of VeriStor. Did I get that right?
You got it right.
You've got one of those Z's in a funny place like my name. Where
too many consonants.
I tell people that my family was too poor to buy vowels. So we have a bunch of consonants right there.
I'm right there with you.
Anytime there's a Z in your name, it's just like, yeah, they just gave up. So tell us a little bit about VeriStor, what you guys do, and then I want to understand a little bit about what you see small businesses and medium businesses doing wrong in that category.
Okay. Well, VeriStor's been around since 2001.
Okay.
Started by 4 founding members, Ashby Lincoln, Murray Granger, Steve Bishop, Jim Glukert, really coming out of EMC and developing storage solutions.
Okay.
Starting out with the physical storage, so
yeah.
servers and things like that. Moved it really into creating integration and solution platforms for small and medium businesses and now enterprise-sized businesses as it relates to anything that has to do with storage, with compute, with infrastructure, data centers, and the like. And we have evolved the business over the last couple of years into cloud managed services.
Okay.
So what we're doing is we're going into organizations, talking with them about what their data needs are, the resilience of their data, the type of backup and retention that they need to make sure that their business continues. There's continuity to their business, whether it's a tornado, a hurricane, or if your CFO spills their coffee on the server when they're
right.
giving a tour. It is just that simple sometimes that people don't take that into consideration. So I've been there for a year. I just joined from Microsoft and really trying to go out and listen, learn, lean in, and start developing client-aligned, client-attuned solutions for data resiliency.
Yeah, and for full disclosure, I'm a recovering technologist, so I'm more on the marketing and operational side now. And back in the day, built a bunch of data centers. And
cool.
I had Novell, like a real throwback, right, to
wow.
that kind of thing. So I'm curious about how the world's changed because, I built RAISE-4 data centers in a couple locations, put in all the technology, all that. And today I see a lot of small and medium-sized businesses, either they've got stuff stored either on local machines, because personal machines have so much hard drive storage now, or they're putting things up on maybe public cloud domains. So what are some risks that I might be looking at in those situations?
Well, I think the biggest issue is organizations sometimes don't even think about continuity and backup and disaster recovery for their data. They'll build business continuity plans in case something happens where their operation, their people are safe, which is where you should start.
Right.
They just don't think about the data. It's not that they ignore it. It's that it just is on down the priority list. So what we really try to do is to go in and talk to them about their business pain points. What systems are important, how much information you have to retain and keep. And if you do have to keep it, is it for 30 days? Is it for 90 days? Or if it's, if it's a hospital, or if it's a university, or if it's legal, maybe it's 7 years.
Yeah.
And what platform is best suited for that type of storage, for that type of backup? And we really try to build these things up that are focused on the client, not just we have one size fits all, or we have small, medium and large. We really develop them on a case-by-case basis, and I think that's one of the things that is within VeriStor's corporate DNA, is that we're here to develop what you want. We're not here to try to sell you something.
Yeah, and so you gave some good examples, maybe a few more. Is it primarily custom systems that a company may have created that they're using to store customer data and things, or is it?
Sure. So you have you have homegrown systems that are very near and dear, and there's a lot of tribal knowledge to them that people are afraid to share any data.
Yeah.
That you can convince that if you just use the right platform and the right media, whether it be putting it in one of our data centers located in Atlanta or Denver, or whether you want to send it to a hyperscaler, which are the public cloud companies like Azure, like AWS, like Google. There are positive and negatives to all those. And actually, you probably should have a combination of a public cloud and maybe more classic infrastructure. And I think to your point about being a recovering data and tech person
yeah.
is nowadays, I think the issue is that people still want to buy things. They have this CapEx mentality, but really what we're seeing is that a lot of organizations need to go small to get big. And by going small, that means you look at software-defined and software-based applications. You look at going to the public cloud and spend your money, your CapEx on broadening your core business versus letting something like IT overtake it.
Yeah.
And those are, and again, those are issues that are unique to every company. Now there is some alignment if you're in a certain vertical, whether it be public institutions or universities or hospitals or healthcare. But ultimately, it's really, the thing I try to tell everybody is we've got marketing organizations out there that says, hey, take everything to the cloud. We're going to the cloud. It's the cloud. Well, it's really not the cloud. It's actually your cloud. It's what you want it to be. You need to have a partner with vested collaboration that listens and actively responds to your needs and builds your cloud. And so specific to your business, to your needs, to your principles.
Well, and what's interesting about what we're talking about, and I had this conversation with a company just a week ago around the concept of technology, specifically when it's fundamental to your business, and it would be hard to argue that any part of it isn't the way we run companies today, that it's not a build it and forget it model. And we view, or I'll see company owners viewing it often that way. So it's like, I'm going to build a house. I'm going to live in the house. I don't really need anybody to help me maintain it or run it afterwards. And that is so not how you should approach a technology infrastructure for your company.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so some of the things to that point is that we want to develop a relationship that creates a quality of business life for your organization through VeriStor, where we manage and we monitor and we care and feed these systems. So you kind of can forget about it, but they're not forgotten about. And one of the issues that we're going to talk about tomorrow is by 2020, there's going to be 50 billion Internet of Things devices out there. That means that literally there are going to be more than six devices for every human being on the face of the earth.
Right. And they're all creating data.
That are going to be interconnected, that are going to have security issues, that are going to have data issues. So you can't forget those things.
Right.
But you need to partner with somebody who cares about them, who understands your business, and make sure that there's an ever presence there, and there's constant care in those aspects of IoT in your business.
Yeah, and as talking about being a recovering technologist, I just recently moved into a new house, an old house, but new to me, right? And one of the things I wanted to do was to connect it. So I've been going through and connecting it, and it's cool. The novelty of being able to turn lights off and on is awesome, right? But the data that's created afterwards is really the manna, right? Like that's where we're learning about how efficient the house is or not.
Exactly.
All that stuff. So you have to be able to not only track it, but then to dissect it. And I want those companies to be able to provide it to me, right?
Yeah, and you'd love to be able that your dishwasher or your clothes washer can send you a text message saying, hey, I don't think you want to run this load right now because it's 1853. If you wait until 2100 after 9 p.m., your electrical rates go down by 25%. So you'll save X amount of money, right?
I had to leave for a period of time, and we would make it start charging at midnight because we knew we got lower rates at that point, right? So I wish my dishwasher did that. Now I want a dishwasher that does that, or a washing machine, or any of that. And So one question I have, I work with a lot of people who are building, so they're building technology. So they're in the beginnings and they're cobbling stuff together. So it's kind of, I'm going to pull a database off a shelf, yada, 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 and then all of a sudden they're successful. Right? So we worry about failure often, but what about if it works? So how and when does a company like that engage with you to start looking at, what they could be doing better or different, and how deep do you go into that process?
Well, I think, when you're here at Dig South and you're looking at a lot of these organizations that are just coming out of their first funding round, or they're just being bootstrapped by their organization, I think the time to talk to them is now, when they're creating those platforms. Our founders, started from scratch. They bootstrapped the organization. They bootstrapped the different, development parts of it: the cloud business, the security business, the integration, and the networking. So they understand that, and we understand that. And I think, to your point previously, put it in your DNA immediately to know that your data's backed up, that you have retention policies, that you can actually make sure that you qualify and quantify, from an audit perspective, that you're taking care of somebody's information, that you're taking care of your information, and do it early, and then not have to then build these in-house platforms, or if they're programming something, or if they're creating something, and then after the fact try to bolt something onto it. Do it from the beginning, so you are eminently aware that you have to have continuity and that you have to back up your business. So if something happens, you lose not 1 minute of time or 1 minute of data. And
that's interesting advice, because I would see these company owners feeling like, you don't want to go to a financial planner unless you have money. Sort of and they're like, well, I'd like to talk to you earlier, because at some point you'll need to plan. And so I could see them saying, well, we're not anything yet, right? We've only got a few users. We're not exactly sure where we're going with the system, but you could have explosive growth overnight. You could have the right mention on my show or somewhere, and then all of a sudden you're getting a ton of new downloads, those kind of things. Sure. And you got to deal with that.
Yeah, and you look at the way business is driven now. Business is driven through data. Everything is heavy. There's all of this video and photo content and optical character recognition content, where it really starts to build up the terabytes and the petabytes faster than you can imagine. And if you're trying to put it on ancient stuff, you're going to wear it out. You're going to break it, and you're going to have nowhere to go.
Yeah, bad customer experience.
And the flip side is that a lot of organizations think the answer is the cloud. Just send it to Amazon or just send it to Azure. They don't understand that there's a Hotel California concept to a lot of these public cloud organizations, where, hey, yeah, you can send it here and save it for pennies on the dollar. Oh, you want your data? Oh, you want to compute? Oh, you want it back?
Okay. Well, so what I want to do is go to a commercial break, and I want to come back and talk about that, because I think most people would think about public immediately. So why would I not do that? Talk a little bit about bring your own device, so the concept of that, and how that kind of ties into what you guys are looking at and caring about, because a lot of data goes in and out of companies on a daily basis. And maybe future a little bit of where we are headed with some of this, with some of the Internet of Things and other devices, connected cars. So anyway, we'll be back in just a second. We're talking with Michael. Oh, got your first name wrong. Michael Stolarczyk.
Yep.
He is Vice President of VeriStor. You're listening to Build Your Best Business, coming from Dig South in Charleston, South Carolina, at the Gaylord Center. We'll be back in just a minute. Congratulations, you're your own boss. Now comes the hard part. It's not just about starting a business, it's about successfully managing and growing that business to an eventual exit. And along that entrepreneurial journey, you're going to run into questions and problems that you need quick answers to. Things like, do you need a business plan? How do you read a balance sheet? How do you talk to an investor? When do you bring on a founder? Or what if you're having problems with your partner? These are the types of things that you run into as you're trying to grow that business to the next level, and they may not be the things you want to share in public with other people. They're the problems and issues that arise that, as I have experienced along my own entrepreneurial journey, that I needed to have someone I could trust to reach out to and have a conversation and get a different perspective. And it was often those short conversations that would be the thing that moved me from where I was to where I needed to be. It's for that reason I created the On-Demand CXO product offering. On-Demand CXO is something that you can use to have a conversation with a trusted advisor about what's going on in your business. We do a 1-hour phone call to talk about your business, talk about your objectives, and understand what it's going to take to move you from where you are today to where you want to be tomorrow. From there, you have ongoing access to a Slack channel to ask me questions in private about what's going on in your business so that I can provide some advice or connections to my network to individuals who can help you solve against that problem. You will also have access to my Facebook page, which is full of other entrepreneurs who are along the same journey, to have more broad conversations, things that you trust and would talk about in a networking event. But when you need to go and have that conversation with a trusted advisor, you will have the ability to have a conversation with me in a place that's safe, completely anonymous, and unbiased. I want to see you succeed and build your very best business.
Are you looking to grow your business? Maybe you know exactly who you need to get in contact with, you're just not sure how to go about it. Podcasting is your answer, and at Briller Media, we make you the expert. We have state-of-the-art equipment to record your audio and video podcast. Plus, we take care of everything on the back end. We schedule your guests, upload your podcast to the top podcasting platforms, and we push out your show on social media, promoting you, your business, and your guest's business. How could they ignore your pitch after that? Briller Media, we make you look brilliant.
Sometimes, life gives you crazy ideas. Chase them.
And we're back. You're listening to Build Your Best Business, the show that focuses on the entrepreneurial journey, what it takes to successfully build, grow, manage, and exit a business. Talking today with Michael Stolarczyk. He is the Vice President of VeriStor, and he's talking about the concept of how we look at data, how we look at continuity, those types of things. Many of the companies here at Dig South were on site at the Gaylord Center today for Dig South are technology-based. So, and even if you're not technology-based, there's going to be some technology component to your business, tracking your customers, tracking anything that is related to how the business runs. So as we went into the commercial break, I made you stop and talking about the public, clouds like Amazon and Azure, those kind of things. How do I, because I think that's a natural tendency, is I'm just going to do that, right? How do I make a decision that that may not be the best fit, and unpack the little Hotel California comment that you made a second ago?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the type of business that you have, and it depends on the use and the needs of the data that you work with, the technology that you work with. So, let's say, you are in the manufacturing business and you have new customers, you're bringing on new products and the like. You're going to want a system and a connectivity to the public cloud that allows you a give and take, and be able to get in and use data, be able to manipulate it, compute it, and maybe take an existing item that you make and change some colors or change some sizes, and then be able then to store that back. So you really need much more of an active relationship with your data storage and with your backup and the like. And a lot of times that's better served on infrastructure that is not only in your facility, but there's a remote infrastructure out of geo. So if something does happen, a natural disaster or something like, you have that completely backed up and completely disaster recovery platform away. So if something happens here, you can spin that instance up in a different place and continue to do your business.
So if I think about that from an analogy perspective, so what I may be giving up by going to a public storage is that it's really just storing.
Right.
If I want to put business intelligence or rules on top of it, I need to have an infrastructure that supports that, and that maybe is better served locally than on the cloud.
And there are, and there is a price point to all of those things. And so the common thought is that the public cloud is cheaper.
Right.
But it depends.
Right.
If you have a
cheaper doesn't always mean better, and cheaper isn't always cheaper.
Exactly. If you have a bunch of data that's inert,
yeah,
and you're just storing it because there's a 7-year compliance requirement, and you're never going to use it again, you can put it in a public cloud space at a cheap price. But if there's data and things that you need to work with on a day-to-day basis, and that also runs your business, you may want to think about a hybrid approach, or just a managed approach where it's in multiple data centers to cover you.
Okay.
So
well, it really does get back to that kind of storage thought, right? If I have things that I'm not ever going to touch, I put them in a storage unit that I never see, right? And really, actually, I'm always annoyed by that build. But and then there's things that I'm going to use more regularly, right? Like a leaf to a table, and I want that at the house, but maybe out of the way, not necessarily. Yeah.
So it's it's not right next door, but it's in the next room,
right?
And you can get and reach it exactly.
Very cool. And so let's talk a little bit about compliance. So because there's I work with a couple companies that are in that arena of, like, GDPR has come out with this new regulation that personal information is a right, like a personal right.
Sure.
And so working with the concept of compliance, looking at that as part of your solution, talk to me a little bit about that and how that fits in.
Well, I think what's really important about that is, and it's some of the things that we're going to talk about on Thursday, is that you need to get proactive in how you manage your devices, how you manage your data, and as it moves out to the edge with handheld devices, with phones, with laptops. You still need to have that security there, and then you need to also be able to mitigate the risk by having software platforms and security platforms that don't allow other people access to your data. They may have access to that local device, but they don't have access to your core data or your operating systems.
Right.
And then what happens is then you ensure resiliency and continuity by doing those first two things. And that's kind of some of the stuff that we're going to talk about. There are lots of software opportunities and features out there, and organizations that you can work with. One of our big partners is Zerto for disaster recovery and continuity. Black Duck Software is going to be here with us as well, and they drive the application basis for security. So you've got two-factor authentication, and you have other different essentially cascading levels of difficulty to get to things, and make that and randomize them. So somebody that may have your laptop still has no way of getting into it, or no way of getting into your network.
Yeah, and I guess thinking about that from the beginning, so building it in, and compliance often to a business owner and a marketer, because I told you I'm a recovering technologist, so I'm more on the marketing side. Yeah. And what I'll run into when you start to think about compliance and that kind of thing is restriction. Like, it means I can use the data less, and yada, yada, yada. If you do it right, if your data hygiene is correct, then it's better.
Yeah.
But you have to think about it that way.
Yeah, and just because you have a tight network and you have security doesn't mean that you lose functionality or lose flexibility. The most robust networks need to have that. That's how you grow. That's the kind of people you want in your organization. And just carrying around a brick in your pocket or in your briefcase is not gonna help you out.
Right. Well, railing lets you go faster. People think that no, I just want to be able to do whatever, and it's like, no, you got to have the railing in place.
Exactly.
Or you're not going to be able to spin up the way you want. So you're touching a little on bring your own device, and I know that's a big thing. Entrepreneurs, well, first and foremost, may not want to buy the equipment, so they'll say, hey, just whatever your laptop is, we can use it. Or, oh yeah, everybody wants their mail on their phone and on their watch and everywhere else. So how does bring your own device kind of components fit into the equation?
Well, anytime you add complexity to the equation, you're going to have more challenges, and there's obviously going to be a cost of BYOD. It might not be to you or to your organization to share something with somebody, but ultimately, on down the line, it's going to cost you money to make sure that everybody is consistently protected and that your data is consistently protected. So BYOD is great, and getting that stuff behind the firewall and everything, you have some protection. But as edge computing and as fog computing become more and more prevalent, with your device and with all the power that they have, that BYOD mentality may be taking a hit.
And so, where do you guys fit in that story? Or do you do anything? Would you advise them?
I mean, we have partners that
help you with it, because I can see it being like policy and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just as important.
We absolutely have partners that can provide the protection and the solution, but we also have executive solutions engineers and people like myself that can help craft your security documents, help come in and consult and really set something up that protects you now, but also leads you the flexibility to grow and to take advantage of new technology and take advantage of new forms of security and disaster recovery.
Yeah, and so in that, like, let's talk a little bit about future. So what's interesting to you? Where do you think we're headed? Like, we seem to do this like back and forth, right? Yeah. So really powerful desktop local stuff, then it goes up to some central location, then it comes back, then it goes back. It's back and forth, back and forth. So where are we in that pendulum?
Well, I think, to me, the big issue with any organization is going to be time to value. And so time to value, to me, equates to being out on the edge, having more powerful devices that are connected to your business ERP systems, and be able to work immediately. So I think the big issues are going to be how you protect the edge, how this concept of cloud computing, which means fog computing as it relates to cloud, is that you're going to have
fog.
Yeah,
I've heard that barely discussed.
Yeah.
Fog.
So fog is where you're going to use your handheld devices and your laptops and the like. And those clouds are going to be closer to the ground.
Okay.
So it's fog.
That's why it's called fog.
And it's closer to the edge.
Yeah.
But you still need the same resiliency and the same protection out there on the edge or in the fog.
Right.
Because it's so prevalent. You literally can't see through it, but you have to make sure that you protect it.
Got it. Okay. Very cool. Well, very interesting. And so you say that if I'm building the next big technology thing, it's not too early to call you and at least start having a conversation about some blind spots and things that I might need to look at.
We would love to talk about those things. We have long-standing clients, 15-year clients that have been around since the founder started the business. But we're gaining new clients and developing new ways of collaborating and creating that vested partnership.
Yeah.
So we'd like to get into the beginning. We'd like to talk about how you land and expand your security, your continuity, and your whole compute platform, and we can do it from a hybrid perspective. And again, I'd like to say it's not just the cloud; it's your cloud.
Yeah.
So however you want to create it, we're there to help out, and we're there to listen and develop it.
Very cool. Well, I again wouldn't have thought about talking with you guys as early. So I think that's a good takeaway from this, is that go ahead and start having those conversations before you think you need it.
Absolutely, that's what I'm trying to tell the folks here this week, and really to think about it. And I've had some pretty clear discussions where people took that as a takeaway, and that they really do need to think about it and evaluate it.
Yeah, very cool. Well, thanks so much. I've been talking with Michael Stolarczyk. I got to close almost.
Stolarczyk, you're right on.
Good. He's Vice President with VeriStor. You've been listening to Build Your Best Business. We're coming to you from Dig South, which is a conference in Charleston, South Carolina. Brings together entertainment, a little bit of education, technology, and food. Good food. So,
right on.
So now what are you going to do to build your best business?
Every day, you wake up as your own boss, making your own way. Every day, you continue your journey to change the world, your team, and yourself. Every day, you encourage, congratulate, celebrate, and reach toward your goal of being the best and providing the best. The Build Your Best Business Show is for you. The real stories of building a business from other owners and founders along the journey. Find the support and advice you need to successfully start, grow, manage, and exit your business. What are you going to do today to build your best business?